I decided that there really needed to be some changes in the county attorney's office. I was very disappointed with the way the office was running. What I was told repeatedly was we don't run against incumbents in this county. And I just thought that was kind of crazy because, you know, coming from San Antonio, when I moved to Williamson County, I felt like I'd stepped back in time about 50 years with the attitudes here. And so nobody else would do it, and true to my nature, I said, well, if nobody else will do it, I will. I believe I've completely turned that office around. I mean, we've doubled the number of protective orders that we get for victims of family violence. We've collected over $7 million in hot check restitution and fees for the merchants of Williamson County. I ran on a platform of kind of keeping the good old boys in check, and I think I've done a good job with that at some personal cost. When I worked for the county attorney back in 1999 and 2000, I was very baffled by how archaic our system is here in Williamson County. The goal seemed to be more about your reputation and your statistics than seeking justice. Over the last 4 years, I have seen just a continuation of the policies and procedures in the DA's office that are disappointing. And I believe that don't adhere to what prosecutors are supposed to be doing, and that is seeking justice. So I've had just numerous people approaching me asking if I would be interested again in running for this position. Still wasn't really interested until the Michael Morton case broke. I was so ashamed that I was from Williamson County because of the shame that that case brought on this county. So I started watching the Morton hearings and going down and listening to how that case was handled. And again, you know, baffled by how that could have happened. And what has led me now to say, you know, this is why I'm doing this and this is why I need to seek this office, is because the policies and procedures that were in place back under Ken Anderson 20 years ago are still the policies and procedures that are in place today under John Bradley. It's time we come to the 21st century with how we run the DA's office. You know, I hear John saying that he's had an epiphany and that he realizes what went wrong, but yet he hasn't changed the policies and procedures in his office that resulted in that case going wrong. And so, you know, actions speak louder than words. The fact that John Bradley, you know, comes forward and touts his reputation for being tough on crime is somewhat of a farce, because there are certain cases, there's a certain level of cases in the district attorney's office and how they are treated. For example, there are cases that are considered by prosecutors as lay-down cases. Those are cases that have a ton of evidence, and a first-year law student could try it and get a conviction. You know, those cases obviously are the cases that get paraded. You know, they are offered the maximum sentence, and if they don't take the maximum, they're taken to trial, and juries and judges give them the maximum sentence. And at this point, you know, they're pleading down roughly a fourth of the felony cases to misdemeanors. And then you have the other tier of cases, and that is if you're a public official, you are basically immune from prosecution. And so I think we need to start truly being tough on crime and prosecuting more aggressively the circumstantial cases and cases where public officials are getting out of line. You know, the message I will have is a district attorney's job is to seek justice, and that's what I will do. A district attorney's job is to treat everybody fairly. No one should be immune from prosecution. You know, it's going to be a competitive race because, you know, John's well known. He has name recognition and in some circles well respected. But you know, I recently did a poll, a survey, to see if the people out in the general public, you know, how they feel about the job that he's doing. And do they echo the concerns that are being echoed in the courthouse? And what I found is that they do. They are concerned. I think a lot of people want to see change, and I don't believe they see John Bradley the way he sees himself. So that was encouraging to me, that with the proper message, getting the truth out about the way that office really runs, that he can be beat.